Hello everyone, just testing to see if this is working. Today we're going to be doing this without Allie. I don't know if I'm allowed to say why, but hopefully she'll come back and say it herself. Yep, the audio is working here. Let me just also go live on Facebook. How do I do this? I forgot, yeah. So last time I did this by myself without Allie, it was an absolute disaster. Let's see if this time it's going to work better. Hopefully we get some people. Oh, hi Jeremy. Hey. So can you hear me? How's the audio? I'm going to need your help a lot today because Ali is not here again because, I don't know, I hope she's doing better. But I'll let her come and say why later. But unfortunately she can't be here. This is muted. This is also muted. Good. Audio is good. Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay, so just gonna go over the news. Hello, hi Moose, how are you? So, gonna go over the news really fast. I have this live on both YouTube and Facebook. Because Ali is not here, it's gonna be a struggle for me to check both, but I'll try my best. And again, I have to read everything myself. Well, last time I did this, it was a nightmare, but I'll try to do better this time because really need some. Maybe we need to look into a backup host. If anyone in the live chat is interested to be a backup host, let me know. So for when Ali can't make it, we have somebody else here that if you want to be a backup host, what requires is for you to read the news stories beforehand and so that you could give a summary before we start, so that way I wouldn't have to actually people don't have to listen to me trying to read it live, which is not fun at all. Hi Mike, hi Mars, Blaster Master 80, Jeremy is here. You'll be good. You've got this. Thank you, thank you, Jeremy. That's sweet. Stefano is saying I want. Okay, good. So message me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Message. You can see my handle right here at Armin Navabi. So message me on there. Can I make a Spanish version? Yes, I would like to actually start an Arabic and a Spanish version of Atheist Republic, both YouTube channel and a Persian and Urdu version as well eventually. And I want these other languages to be for our YouTube and podcast version, and a Facebook page and a Twitter account dedicated to Atheist Republic in other languages. But the problem is that we have had a lot of people that volunteered and showed up and started translating articles and everything, but then halfway through they just gave up. This is why you put a lot of energy and effort in getting into volunteers into place, but then it's better not to start than having a project that you spent a lot of resources and time into, and then nothing comes out of it. Another problem is that a lot of the volunteers need to be, if they're really passionate about making something happen, they need to be self-driven. Most people just sit around waiting for directions, but the volunteers that we need most right now are the people that give directions rather than take directions. Okay, let's see the first news. Angry Young Preacher says, oh, I don't even want to read this out loud, but I have to because there's a podcast version of this which is not going to be able to see what's on the screen right now. So Angry Young Preacher says, women who dress like whores won't attract good men. Oh, what a nice person. Lagging more on YouTube than Facebook? That's weird. That shouldn't be happening. Let me see. Are the Facebook people okay? Oh, let me see. Hi, on Facebook I'm seeing people. Thank you. I'm from the Philippines. Hi. Are you doing anything else on the Jordan Peterson Sam Harris debate? Well, I mean, that's not relevant to what we're doing today, so you could ask me that somewhere else. Let's see what this guy says. Anyways, I'm going to change the scene so that you guys can see what's going on here. How do I switch scenes? Oh, here. Okay. Matt Powell, the 22-year-old budding hate preacher who has said the government should execute gay people. Oh, so he has a history. Because the Bible says so, has some advice for women. Stop dressing like whores. So I think this entire paragraph is this quote. Maybe instead of quoting him, it's just let's listen to the video. That should be easier. Load. Come on.
And I speak as a young man. I'm a single man. I'm not married. But I want to say to the young ladies, a lot of times, 2018 America and the media is saying, you know, with their enticing words like the Bible says to watch out for, oh, go ahead and dress like a whore. You'll attract a young man that'll be loyal to you. Just dress like a whore. Go get a bunch of tattoos all over yourself. Go ahead and get drunk. Go ahead and do drugs. Go ahead and wreck your life and make your face look like you fell out of a fishing tackle box. Make yourself look this way, and then a young man will like you. Did you know the Bible says that true men of God and somebody that's going to be loyal to you, young lady, will not want anything to do with somebody that, number one, is not saved, but number two, lives that kind of filthy disgust. It's disgusting. You know, young people, that's a word you need to add in your vocabulary. Disgusting. It's disgusting when I see a whore. It disgusts me. It's gross. And they're like, oh, you know, why does one guy just hook up with me one time and that's it? Well, because you're dressing like a whore. You expect some loyal guy to be like, oh, I want that girl. But that's what the media says. That is what the media says. And folks, you've been brainwashed. I hate to break it. I've been brainwashed. The media has been trying to brainwash people and tell people, hey, this is how you should live. This is acceptable. You know, abortion's acceptable. Homosexuality is acceptable. You know, our church, people are threatening to protest our church right now because of homosexuality. Because I said in an interview, it's not natural. The Bible says it's disgusting.
All right. Well, I agree with him on his usage on encouraging people to use disgusting more often, but I would apply it to what he's saying instead. Let me see what else. There's a reaction to it. I mean, I guess, yeah. The news is basically just an idiot being an idiot. There's a whole bunch of fallacies there that I don't even know if I want to address. And it's not natural. But first of all, it is natural. Second of all, if it's not natural, who gives a shit? If it's fun, I'll do it, whether it's natural or not. Your microphone that you're speaking to is not natural, so stop speaking to your microphone. What else? Disgusting, you know. People, you know, I don't know if people understand that this Abrahamic religions, they're actually, you know, if you think about the history of, actually, let me first bring the live chat back here. There we go. If you look at the history of human race, this whole sex shaming is quite recent, and it's weird to think about it as quite recent because it's pretty old. You know, Abrahamic religions, they've been here, they're ancient, but if you add up all of human history, they're relatively recent. This whole idea of sexuality and sex and anything associated with it to be something disgusting or shameful. And actually, it's a very powerful part of the meme. You know, it works. Because this is why Islam and Christianity, you know, among many other reasons why they're such powerful memes. They are using such powerful emotions in people to be able to survive and spread. And one of these tools, among many other, is to make people feel disgusted by themselves, make people feel like they're lacking or they're ill, that there's something wrong with them. And that's why sexuality is one of those best methods to do that, because these are urges that many people can't resist, and people want to notice other people's sexuality, and they want to be noticed by other people because of their sexuality. And that's something that most people want. People want to notice, and people want to be noticed. And making you feel ashamed by that is a very useful way of making you feel like that you need help, that you need support, that there's something, basically natural urges that you have that you can't help. And yeah, and there's a favorite one of my favorite quotes is, sin is an imaginary disease designed to sell you an imaginary cure. But yeah, I not that it's not like these people know that that's what they're doing, right? They're just a small part of a very powerful meme, and they're just you know, different parts of this machine, and they don't know that they are serving this meme. Any comments in the Armin? Guy Moose, when you say Armin, I might not see it. If you tag Atheist Republic, then I might see it more. It's more likely that I will see it. Moose Guy is saying, Armin, I was raised Catholic, but where in the Bible does it say that being a homosexual is disgusting? There's a part that says that the men that lay with the other men should be, stoned to death, and you shouldn't have any pity for them. And also, the reference to the two cities that God, some people suggest that the main sin that made God rain fire on those cities was homosexuality, especially given that Lot, before leaving the city, some people wanted to have sex with the two male angels that visited. The homosexuality, it seems like to be the main highlight of the sins of those two cities. In fact, the Quran also, the Hadith also refers to the sins of the people that at Sodom, and the people of Lot, and that's how people refer to homosexuality. I think it's their understanding is that that's one of the reasons why God got angry with those two cities. No, because it says Muscal is saying, isn't that man as in mankind, not actual two men? No, because it says. Do you want me to pull up the verse? It seems like it's pretty clear. Like if a man lays with another man. Here, Dutch is giving us the verses. Leviticus, copy. Just bring it up. Okay, first one. Thank you, Dutch, for looking this up. Oh my God, this is a long one. Which part of it? Here. This is pretty actually clear, actually, that is. I said actually twice. Bible Hub. Okay. Here, multiple translations here. So that is pretty obvious. Chrome. Oh. Bringing it up. I'm going to read it out. Okay. Leviticus 18:22. Do not have sexual relationship with a man as one does with a woman. That is detestable. That's the New International Version. Let me go to something else. The King James Version says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind." So it is abomination. So Muscal is definitely not referring to mankind as in all human beings, because it makes it very clear right after that says as with womankind. So this mankind is not referring to all humans. Do you guys want me to check the other verses as well? That's Dutch, or I think this one is enough. This makes it pretty clear. There's another one. I think there was a Romans one that has the stoning in it. Let me bring that up as well, actually. The Roman one is pretty brutal, because it not only does it say you have to stone. Is it the Romans one? Was that the Romans one? Let me actually first make sure that I'm right before I say anything more. Oh my God, this is a long one. I think that's good enough. So the other ones you could look up is Leviticus 20:13 and Romans 1 from 24 to 32. Look it up. It's pretty clear. Oh, Muscal is saying, isn't that? Oh, I think I already read that. Okay. Let's close this. Close this. Close this one. Next story. Oh my god, this is such a disaster. What the fuck is this? All right, so this one says 12 girls schools burnt down overnight in Pakistan. Why? Why? No, this is... What is this? No thanks. Okay, so this is in Karachi. 12 girls schools. Oh, you guys can see. There we go. 12 girls schools have been burnt down by unidentified persons in coordinated attacks. Why? Jesus fucking Christ. In Pakistan's Gilgit-Baltistan, triggering protests by local residents who sought safety for educational institutions, which are often attacked by the militants, a media report said on Friday. Is this because girls are not supposed to go to school? The schools in Chilas town, about 130 kilometers from Gilgit, were targeted late last night by unidentified men who also damaged school property across the Diamer district, police said. Explosions were also set off in two schools. In two schools, GeoNews reported, quoting police officials. Following the attacks, local residents staged a protest at Siddique Akbar Chowk, demanding the arrest of the culprits and seeking safety for educational institutions, which are often targeted by militias. So, this is why this is kind of like the school shootings in the US, but on steroids. It's burning and bombing instead. Police have started a search operation in the area to arrest the perpetrators. According to the district administration, the schools were under construction. Oh, okay, so under construction, so there was nobody there. At least that's good. Girls' schools are often attacked in the northern area of Pakistan. Wait, were all of them under construction? I hope nobody died. Did anybody die? In December 2011, at least two girls' schools were partially damaged in low-intensity explosions in Chilas. Earlier that year, unidentified men had also... Okay, get into the motivations, please. Nobody is talking about... Okay, in 2004, girls' schools in Chilas came under a string attack, 9 schools of which... I think we all know the motivations. I just want to make sure we get clarification here. 9 schools of which 8 were girls' schools were attacked and destroyed in 5 days in the area in February. Terrorists have also blown up educational institutions in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. If they wrote this in actual Urdu, I would be able to read that better. And federally administered tribal areas. According to the report, about 1,500 schools have been destroyed in the tribal belt during the last 10 years. 1,500 schools! Jesus, imagine how much education is missing because of 1,500 schools being damaged. Nobel Prize winner and education activist Malala, I always know her first name, but I can't pronounce her last name. Yousafzai. Here, let me actually... If I see the Urdu version of it, I will be able to read. Come on, Wikipedia, help me out here. Malala Yousafzai. Okay, I think. For advocating girls' education. Okay. Yeah, see? Oh, there we go. Was also shot. Okay, so she was. This is exactly why they shot Malala, for advocating girls' education. Again, now this is something I don't know where in the Quran or Hadith says this. Is there anything? Because I have not yet seen anything in the Quran or Hadith that suggests that girls shouldn't be educated. There's a lot of. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of anti-woman verses and Hadith in both the Quran and Hadith and in Sunnah, but education, not them not being educated, is not part of it. So I'm gonna call this un-Islamic because I don't know where in Islam does it advocate for this. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, calling something un-Islamic is not a defense of Islam. I just want to point to that I don't know if you could direct this to anything in Islam that suggests women can't be educated. I don't think there is, but I might be wrong. If you guys know of a hadith that suggests that women should not be educated, let me know. B just saying it has to be worry about not being able to control a wife later if she's educated. Yeah, it's exactly that. But I don't know if they have an Islamic excuse for it. I don't think they have an Islamic excuse for this. I think this is just them wanting to be able to control women. Let me see. Okay. Let me go back to you guys. Close this one. Well, this is depressing. Imagine how much they're missing out on. Like, imagine the amount of progress that is being missing in Pakistan because of women not being able to get the education because of these 15. Let's see some of the comments. Joel, okay, so Greg is saying, "Isn't religion so lovely?" Again, I don't know if I could attribute this to religion, unless I'm missing something. I think this is just a Pakistan thing. Again, and I want to say again, this is not a defense of Islam. I just want to be clear if it is Islam or not. But if you want to, I do think that it could be argued that even if you don't find a hadith or a Quran verse for it, Islam creates such an anti-woman mentality and such a understanding that women are there as tools and do need to be controlled, that if you have that understanding, it's easy to get to such a conclusion that anything that gives them more autonomy, more control, or more power over their own lives cannot be a good thing. Like, maybe you could make that argument, but not a direct verse or hadith that suggests that. Muscal is saying, "Do you ever watch HBO Silicon Valley? The actor, oh yeah, I know. The actor Kumail Nanjiani, is that how you say it? Was born in Karachi." Yep. Yeah, I like Silicon Valley. I watched, I think, only the first season. Linda is saying, "They are so scared of women. It's not even funny. They have small dick syndrome." Is there some sort of time portal as one crosses the border into Pakistan? That's from Eddie. All right. If anybody in the live chat thinks that there is a direct relationship between this and Islam, let me know why you think that. I might be wrong about this, right? Okay, close this one. Okay, this one needs to increase the size of the window. All right, so next news is Catholic nuns are speaking out about their own abuse at the hands of priests. So this is the... Okay, so the article goes, "We know about the little boys, but Catholic priests had other victims too. Several nuns are now coming forward to tell the Associated Press their own stories of abuse." By the way, let me give a shout out to Friendly Atheist. This is where we're getting this from. So thank you so much for this. Um, in what reporters Nicole Winfield and Rodney Mohamuz are calling Vatican meets #MeToo. An AP examination has found that cases have emerged in Europe, Africa, South America, and Asia. Wow, this is pretty international, demonstrating that the problem is global and pervasive, thanks to the universal tradition of sisters' second-class status in Catholic Church and their ingrained subservience to the men who run it. Some nuns are now finding their voices. I don't know this one. Boyd? Okay, let's see this. This is my English being my second language is being shown very much here.
Bui.
Okay, keep afloat. Okay. Buoyed by the Me Too movement and the growing recognition that adults can be victims of sexual abuse when there is an imbalance of power in a relationship. The sisters are going public in part because of years of inaction by church leaders. Even after major studies on the problem in Africa were reported to Vaticans in the 1990s. See, this is... a lot of people suggest, by the way, that the reason why this happens more often among priests is because of the rules that says that they can't get married. I don't know if that's true or not, or if there's been any studies on that. But if I hope that's not being used as an excuse. Oh, Muscal is saying Atheist Republic. There are lots of Christians that want what? Oh my god. Again, I have to look this up. What is this? Suburbanate, like suburbs. Okay. Suburbanate. Women. In America, that was about 50s and 60s. Yes. Okay. But isn't that everybody, like, hasn't that been always the case with men throughout history? Like, women being seen as properties, and just wanting to make sure that they don't misbehave. I think that's just been the case everywhere. It's just that religion, whether it's Catholic or Islam or traditions or culture, wherever culture has a huge influence, or wherever religion has a huge influence, I think what happens is that it just lasts longer. That mentality just lasts longer wherever religion or culture is a major part of people's lives. So, and again, I think the reason why this was a natural thing to happen is that because men are physically stronger than women on average. So I think if you replayed this scenario 1,000 times, given that we start history in a situation where physical strength is very important relative to maybe intelligence, men will always start, on top, and they always try to control the other sex until physical strength becomes less and less of an issue. But I think that would always play the same way. I think and then the institutions or culture or religions, even after physical strength not being such an issue, that mentality will carry on to modern societies because of religion and culture not letting it die out. Does that make sense? That's just my theory or hypothesis in this case. All right, another friendly atheist article. Let's go in and see what this one is. See, I have a problem reading this out loud. This is why I really need Ellie here. Ugandan LGBTQ activist Val Kalende says she's no longer a lesbian. Oh, she's been cured. Oh my god, poor you. For well over a decade, Val Kalende was an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ rights. Oh no. What a disaster. In Uganda, a nation where homosexuality can be punished with life in prison. Maybe she just gave up. Maybe she knows that this is all bullshit, but she can't take it anymore. She's like, you know what? You know what? I'm done. I don't want to go to jail. Consider me cured. This is, after all, where infamous "kill the gays" bill originated. Yeah, she gave up. I don't think she means it. I'm pretty sure. Not 100% sure, but I think she's like. Um, I think she's knows that she's still a lesbian. Calenda spoke out against that bill in Huffington Post while she was a fellow with the International Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commissions years before that. She allowed a newspaper to feature her in an article about the dangers of being lesbian in that nation. Newsweek followed up with a separate profile of her bravery. I think she decided she said the cost is not worth it. Muscal is saying autocorrect made a mistake. It was supposed to read in the 50s and 60s in America. Lots of Catholics wanted subservient women. Okay, so it's not my fault then that I couldn't understand the context of that. Okay, subservient women. Yes. Okay. So, but I thought like because it said suburb, I thought like maybe actually that wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm gonna go cut that part out. Thanks, Muskel. I'm not gonna. That's gonna look really bad because I thought this word must make sense in this context. I don't know what it means, so I just went with it. Now I look like an idiot. Thanks. So let's continue with this article. The point is, she was the sort of LGBTQ person who risked a lot as an advocate. A lot of LGBTQ people looked up to her. On Sunday, however, Karande spoke on live broadcast for Christian channel Salt TV with Pastor Aliosios Bugingo, a troubling man in his own right, and told the world she was no longer a lesbian, she was turned straight. So somebody in the live chat mentioned maybe she's bi. No, she's not bi. She's saying I'm fully straight. Her speech isn't English, so we're working off news reports here, but before the anti-LGBTQ groups celebrate her conversion as proof that people can change their sexual orientation, take a look at some excerpts of her speech. It really seemed like she lost everything due to her advocacy and knew that turning straight was the only way she could be with her family again. Yeah, see, exactly. This is what I guessed even before getting to this part. Soraya is saying, Atheist Republic and everyone, happy Friendship Day. It's first Sunday of August in India here. Oh, hello, Soraya. Happy Friendship Day to you as well. I didn't know it. That's a thing. Maybe. Okay, so here's the quote from her speech. I was born in Kansanga and have relatives in Kibando. I joined lesbianism, what the fuck, right after Makerere University. I'm born of Christian parents. All of them cut their ties with me for being gay. I became an orphan. she narrated. I think, yeah, she's hiding in her speech. She's putting some notes for the rest of us to see, like, I'm not really straight. I'm being forced to say this. It kind of seems like it. I might be wrong. Right now, I have no peace of mind. I sometimes break down and cry, wondering why I'm like this. I'm now back home and have been saved. She says gays make one believe one is loved, and in the end one break one away from friends and family. Oh my God. Well, it's not the gays that are doing that, it's your country that is doing that to you. Did she get saved to be with her family again, or because she genuinely underwent some sort of conversion? I can't say for sure. Well, I can. Nobody gets cured from being gay, but those, like, cured, like, as in obviously it's not even a cure. That's what they say. But those words certainly suggest a life that was lonely and depressing. We shouldn't rule out the possibility that she made this announcement due to social pressure. No kidding. You're living in a country that suggested that gays should be put to death and there's life prison for them. Of course, this is social pressure rather than a sincere change of heart. Her Facebook page also includes weird, cryptic messages like transformed by God's love, TBGL, overcomer, changed, freedom march, no conversion therapy. Whoa, my choice. For someone who was eloquent and outspoken for years, that's a strangely abrupt message. So are many of her other recent posts, mostly images with Bible verses on them. My God, she was so desperate and lonely and in such a threat. This is so sad. I hope she's happy, really, but Christian groups pointing to, yeah, any Christian groups pointing to this as proof that this is working is just stop. Just stop. This is a woman that really needs help. Oh my God, I'm so sad for her. What a disaster. Anyways, next story. Let me close this one. Let me come back to you guys and read some of your comments before we go. And everyone, okay, so Muscal is saying, imagine if the nun spoke out when the abuse first happened. How many children would have been spared from sexual abuse from the priests? Okay. I don't know what you're getting at there, but okay. Let me see. Oh no, this story. I don't. Okay, by the way, I don't really pick the stories. It's my team that does that. So I'm really tired of talking about the story, but I'm gonna do it anyways because it's part of the stories. What the fuck? Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so next story is what? New York Times new editorial board member sure had some really racist tweets. Let me see. But they were about white people, so the New York Times is keeping her. Let's go to the article. Let me see what Muscal is saying. Her feelings are never going to go away, oppressing her. Oh, this is about the last story about the woman from Uganda, saying her feelings are never going to go away. Oppressing her true self is going to cause her mental health issues. Yeah, but I think she just chose between two very shitty situations. Do you guys really want to? Okay, this is a short one. Is it? No. Fuck. Okay. All right. Let's see. New York Times new editorial board member sure had some really racist tweets. Okay. Remember back in February 2018 when New York Times hired Quinn Norton, but quickly let her go after people exposed old tweets that included slurs against gay people and retweets with racist terms. I guess only those slurs were bad because the New York Times editorial board hired Sarah Jeong, is that how you say it? Who has a history of racist tweets against white people. The newspaper even sent out a memo that defends its hiring of Jeong. As you can imagine, the Twitter mob is in full force and has been exposing Jeong's old tweet. Well, this is my tweet here, so I don't appreciate being called a Twitter mob. I mean, it's not like there were many people posting this before I posted it. There was a few people posting it, but it's not like I joined a mob. Anyways, so there's my tweet in this article asking people if these are racist. Let's look at some of these tweets. They're pretty fucking racist, so I think you guys would agree. Let's go in so I could see what you guys are saying. Can you make this bigger? How do you make it? Oh, okay. Anyways, you guys can't see it. It's too small. Maybe the article has it. Alright, I'll just read the ones that the article is referring to. According to Jung, white people are only fit to live underground like groveling goblins. She also finds so much joy out of being cruel to old white men. I abhor Twitter mobs and digging up old tweets to attack people. It's the hypocrisy the New York Times just displayed that boils my blood. Well, you wouldn't know. Wait, first of all, what the hell? The point is to show the hypocrisy. You wouldn't know about this hypocrisy if this wasn't being dug out. This is not about her. This is about New York Times. This is about pointing out that apparently being racist to white people is A-okay. Because and she shouldn't lose her job, but the problem is that I don't think she should lose her job. It's just that why do some other people lose their job if they have old racist tweets and she doesn't, right? This is not about getting her fired or anything. This is about showing that there's a double standard going on. Yes, Soraya is pointing out that the New York Times hired her even after reading her tweets, but they mistook you as someone else with ill intention. That part I can't understand. Even the writer of this article, who is this guy? Mary Chastain, is pointing out to my tweet and saying Twitter mobs, I abhor Twitter mobs digging out old tweets to attack people. This is not about her. This is about New York Times. This is about the society that keep people saying that only systemic racism is racism, which is bullshit. All racism is racism. And then apparently racism against white people is institutional because look, it's okay. You can get away with it. So even if your standard was institutional racism, well, this seems like this is systemic. This isn't becoming institutional, like it's part of, because it's okay. You can say these things against white people and nothing will happen to you. So tell me, does that not make it systemic? Again, I don't think any of them should be fired, but the point is to show the hypocrisy. Yeah, everyone I don't. So Rasoon God is saying everyone I don't like is a Twitter mob. Yeah, I mean, there was how many people pointed this out before I did? Like there was one person, I think, and then a friend of mine showed it to me on Facebook. It was like there's two people that posted this on Twitter. Does that make a mob? According to Jiang, one people are only fit to live on. Oh, I already read that part. Yeah, look at this guy. So I don't care about Sarah Jung's dumb old tweets, but it's the Times themselves who set the standard. Yeah, and you wouldn't know. I mean, these dumb old tweets show the standard, show the double standard. So why are you? I don't understand. This is such bullshit. Even people that agree that this is racist and there's a double standard, they are shitting on people that pointed this out to them. So in February, the New York Times hired and let go journalist and essayist Quan Norton due to her slurs on Twitter and her friendship with Andrew Arnheimer, something like that, who gained infamy as an internet troll going by the name Weave. Mr. Arnheimer now works for the Daily Stormer, a neo-Nazi website. I don't know if it might very much be a neo-Nazi website, but I don't trust you guys to tell me that because everything is either far-right or neo-Nazi these days. But it might be, I don't know. Here's what the editor, James Bennett, said about Norton. Despite our review of Quan Norton's work and our conversations with her previous employer, this was new information to us. Based on it, we've decided to go our separate ways. So why not use this? Okay, so this is the defense that the New York Times had for this, right? So this is what. Okay, we hired Sarah Jong. Is that how you say it? Jong? Let me make this a little bit bigger. Can you make this larger? Because of the exceptional work she has done covering the international and technology. Oh, no, the international. The internet. This is too small. Can you make it bigger? Bigger, please. Oh, there we go. Why is it blue? I'm just going to read it off here. This is not fitting in the screen. Okay, so for the work she has done on the internet and technology at a range of respected publications. Her journalism and the fact that she is a young Asian woman have made her a subject of frequent online harassment. Oh my, you motherfuckers. For a period of time, she responded to that harassment by imitating the rhetoric of her harassers. This is such bullshit, such double standard. She was making public tweets in response to nobody else out of nowhere, telling how much she hates white people. If that's your excuse, then any racist tweet could be just like, oh, I'm just imitating other people. She sees now that that this approach only serves to feed the vitriol that we too often see on social media. No, this is fucking racist. Just call it racist. It's racist. She regrets it, and the Times does not condone it. You should. Then why did you not do the same thing with that guy? How come this is such a bullshit excuse? We had a candid conversation with Sarah as part of our thorough vetting process, which included a review of her social media history. She understands that this type of rhetoric is not acceptable at the Times, and we are confident that she will be an important voice for the editorial board moving forward. Again, I really don't think she should be losing her job, okay? Like, we all said, I mean, most of us have said something that we would rather take back. But even some of her most recent tweets suggest that she's still like that. It's okay. I mean, even if she's like a fucking racist, which she is, I don't think she should lose her job because of that. But this is not about her. This is about New York Times making excuses for one type of racism and not at all being accepting the other one. right? You should other people that being racist to other races as well should be like, you know what, these guys are racist. We fucking hate them. We're gonna tell them that this is unacceptable, and we're gonna keep them as well. If you've said that, then you'd be like, okay, well, and you should have called it out as racist. Not that, don't make up excuses for racist tweets. She was imitating other people. No, she wasn't. Come on. Reverse talkback. Come on, guys. She says cancel white people. Cancel white people. That's hashtag cancel white people. That's what she said. Anyways, I'm done with this bullshit. I've been dealing with this all week. All weekend, at least. No. I'm not going to read more bullshit excuses for this kind of behavior. Racism is racism. Soraya is saying she's not exactly racist. No, she's definitely a racist. What are you talking about? But she responded in same kind to racists who were racist. No, it doesn't matter. If I say, I hate, I don't know, so and so people because, and you say like, oh yeah, that's racist. Well, I'm just responding to their racism. Okay, well, you're responding to their racism with racism. It's still racist. All right. Wait, is this another one of the... I already covered this story. So... See, this is what happens when Allie does not participate. We get two of the same story. It's loading now. I'm going to go to live chat, see what you guys have to say. All right, look at this. Okay, so sanitation. Let me see what Soraya has saying. Yeah, agreed. A position is a position for everyone. Exactly. Yeah, and other people like, oh, but white people did this, or white people did that. I like. All right, and that doesn't mean you can be racist to all of them. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's kind of like saying, well, these people, you could every race of people have history of crimes. Give me one race of people that don't have a history of their ancestors committing crimes. If you make general statements about all the people in their race, they're being racist. And any form of racism doesn't justify being racist to people that to the race of people that committed that racism, because two wrong doesn't make it right. Even if you argue it's much less, it's less, but it's racist. But there's less racism maybe here than the other people. Maybe anti. Okay, here's what you could say. You could say an anti-white racism is less of an issue in the United States or Western countries than other forms of racism. Okay? You can say that. And that's legit. But that doesn't mean it's not racism. So call it racism and then make your other point after. No, they're very... Muscal is saying, I didn't find those tweets racist, but very dumb. How is it not racist? You're making hateful comments to a group of people based on their race. That's a very definition. That's textbook racism. All right. Sanitation worker harassed outside abortion clinic by pro-life atheists group. What? Okay, see, don't tell us that we don't report on our own on atheists because we're being biased. Apparently, atheists are harassing people. Atheists, pro-life atheist groups. What the fuck is this? This is interesting. Let me see if anybody has any more comments about the last story before we move on. True start out slowly. If you put okay, no. So I'm gonna just go to the story. This is a bizarre one. Sanitation worker harassed outside abortion. Why does the sanitation worker being harassed? Pro-life atheists. I've actually met some pro-life atheists in some atheist events. So they do exist. Oh, there's a video here. Let's see what this video is.
Innocent babies, innocent human beings, and putting them in trash beds.
How much for some of these specimens?
You don't have to work here.
How much? You name the price. I'll write you a check.
Sir,
Write it in cash.
how are you?
Well, this is not really harassment. I mean, it's still they're still being dicks, but it's not technically harassment. They're just talking to him. Let me see. Want to see a disturbing video? This is not. Was this the video that was disturbing?
Innocent babies, innocent human beings, and putting them in trash beds.
How much for some of these specimens?
You don't have to work here.
How much? You name the price. I'll write you a check.
This is
Sir.
not.
Write it in cash.
How are you?
That's it. Okay. Here's a group of anti-abortion protesters harassing a sanitation worker who's picking up material from a local Planned Parenthood. I mean, they're being dicks. I mean, this guy is not even doing anything. He's just picking up stuff. So why are you talking to him? They're saying, well, you shouldn't be working for like murderers or something like that. But yeah, that's a dick move. But I think calling it harassment is just a step too far. Soraya in the live chat is asking, pro-life atheists, what are those? Atheists without science knowledge. Pro-life atheists do exist, and they do have like some of them come to atheist events and they have tables and stuff, and they think like there's a non-religious reason for being anti-abortion, and I completely disagree with them, but they do exist, and they are very, very passionate sometimes. And they hate religious anti-abortion people because they think that the religious anti-abortion people have hijacked all the good arguments against abortion. That's their argument. That's what they say, not what I do. That's what I say. They go after sanitation. Okay, so Rasoon God Zero is saying they go after sanitation workers because they think there's babies in the trash bin. Okay. I guess every cell except the ones with a nucleus, like the red blood cells, could technically turn into a baby. So don't itch your skin or anything because you're killing potential babies. Note the hashtag on there, don't kill humans, as if this guy is taking an axe to a nursery. The harassment continued in another video. Okay, then maybe it got better. Maybe it got worse than this because better. What the fuck? Because maybe then it turned into something that is actually a harassment. You have to click the arrow on the center right of the photo twice in order to view it. Let me see. This one. Oh, twice. Why can I? 1, 2.
Is that something that you would be okay with?
Let's
If
see
it's
if this
not, then
is.
how are you okay with doing that here? Those are innocent human beings. Do you have children, sir? Do you have children? Those are somebody's children in that container.
What the hell?
Somebody. Is that something that you?
Well, it's still not harassment. I think it's still a dick move. This guy's just cleaning stuff. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know. How do you guys define harassment? Is this harassment? I think it's an exaggeration if called harassment. You could, maybe it is. We'll see. Setting aside the debate over whether fetuses are human beings or babies, they're not. They're not. It's beyond the pale for these people to go after a guy who, as far as we know, has no stake in the argument. He's just doing his job, not taking some moral stance. It's like taking your frustration about Chick-fil-A's anti-gay owners out to the employees working the cash register. Well, I don't know. I think it all. To be fair, I think it all does depend on whether you think these are it's a crime or not. Because what if the cash register was at like I don't know, what if you were working at like near gas chamber at at Auschwitz, and you're just helping out clean the place and making sure the gas, everything is working, the gas bill is paid on time and all that. Wouldn't you, even if you're not technically killing anybody, there's a fair point to bring up that say like, well, why are you helping these motherfuckers kill people? Like, don't you feel guilty? So I think the argument goes back to that killing just a whole bunch of cells is not really nothing is happening, right? Nothing. You're not doing anything evil. These are just a whole bunch of cells. So I think I don't agree with Hamed wrote this. Yeah, Hamed Mehta wrote this. I don't agree with him here. I think if they were right, if they were actually killing conscious self-aware babies or human children, and you were working for an organization that was doing that, then it would be fair to go and be like, why are you working here? But the issue goes back to, no, they're not doing anything wrong. This is just, there's nothing, these are not conscious beings, okay? You could do whatever you want. You could have abortion as a hobby if you wanted to. Stefano Zurita is saying, I cannot say I'm pro-choice in Latin America, because pro-choice atheist groups are shifting literally on churches, and they are a bunch of crybabies. Azir is saying, yeah, it's harassment, not super bad harassment, but it fits. Okay. Okay. I really don't. Suraya is saying, I really don't think abortion in an early stage, which is totally dependent on mothers' what? Oh yeah. So. What is Brian saying? Brian is saying no tax. Okay, Brian is saying I don't care what PP or Planned Parenthood throws in the trash, just stop taxing me to pay for it. Well, that's a different argument. Let me see. Abortions aren't paid with tax dollars. Well, Planned Parenthood does a lot more than just abortion. That's just a very small thing that they do. But Planned Parenthood, for those that don't know, this is the government-funded organizations in the U.S. that that does a lot of things, a lot of family planning, a lot of healthcare issues, and a lot of and anti-abortion people in the United States are upset that their tax money is going towards that. But it's such a small part of their budget of what they do as abortion. Soraya, I do agree with you that even if they were conscious, the mother, if they're dependent on the mother, the example people usually give that if somebody is tied to me and is using my immune system to live, at any point, if I walked away, that person would die. You shouldn't be able to force me to stay to be able to keep this person alive. So even like you can't force somebody to be used to keep another person alive. So even if they were conscious, then abortion at that in that case would be a tragic. A tragic necessity. But the good thing is that they're not conscious, so go at it, right? It doesn't even go there. They're not conscious beings. Just have as many abortions as you want. Okay. Moose Gal is saying, how about we call it soft harassment? Yeah, sure. We could call it soft harassment. Can't Spell is saying parasite lives matter. All right, they're calling babies parasites. Technically, biologically, that could be accurate. Actually, no, that's not accurate because parasites have to be of a different species. Muscal is saying this is one of the cultural wars that Republican votes scream about. This is actually a very powerful political tool in the United States. Imagine if you could convince people that they are conscious, right? This is worse than the Holocaust. Imagine the number of abortions that are happening in the United States and everywhere else. Then this would become the greatest human rights violation of all time. I mean, but Soraya's point stays as well. You can't force people to. But if neither of those points were there, then people that are anti-abortion think that they're standing against the greatest crime in history when you're allowing abortions. But I mean, if they just some basic understanding of how brain works and how these fetuses are not, the fact that they're human is not the matter. It's not better. It's not, the issue is not whether they're human or not. The issue is whether they can suffer, or whether whether they can suffer or not. That's avoiding suffering is the main thing that we should always be concerned about. Or every single cell that I have, except the ones that don't have a nucleus, like the blood cells, could potentially turn into a human being. Does that make them? Do they need rights now because they can? All right. Soraya is saying if those atheists. Oh no. So first, Azzy is saying if that permission is withdrawn and you don't leave, it's still a violation. What permission? If that permission is withdrawn and you don't leave, it's still. What permission are we talking about? I don't know. Soraya is saying Atheist Republic. If those atheists are irritating daily, deliberately, then I'll surely call it harassment. Yeah, okay. Muscal is saying it's my body. I can do what I damn well want. Not for the government, Republican party, or any American to tell me what to do. I have body autonomy. Secondly, Trump and Pence want. I think their sentence is. I think it got cut halfway. But okay, so the devil's advocate against that is that your body is your body, but the baby's body is the baby's body. You can make choices for your own body, but you have no right to make choices for the baby's body. That's the counter argument. And to that, I say the baby's body. That's not a baby. That's a fetus, and the fetus doesn't matter because the fetus is not conscious. So, I don't give a shit about the fetus. Stefano is saying we shouldn't mix on this. We shouldn't mix on this war. The only thing that ties us is the godless factor. No, but it's a good thing that we're pointing this out. I think because these are atheists, right? So people are always saying like, I mean, I didn't even choose this. My team chose this for me to cover, and they posted this on Atheist Republic. And people are always like, oh, when Muslims do something, you point it out. When Christians do something, what about atheists? Why are you not pointing that? Like, look, it wasn't even me posting this. Someone else posted this. So our team is definitely covering stories about atheists that are misbehaving. Mark, the first comment is saying, isn't pro-life atheist an oxymoron? No, it's not. Atheism is nothing other than a lack of belief in God. Adrian is saying, if you're an atheist and pro-life, you suck major ass and need to reevaluate your life choices. I don't know. It could be that you suck major ass, or it could be that you're just uninformed and care. I mean, it might be coming from a good place. You might have good intentions. You might actually think like people are being harmed here, but you are very misinformed. Yeah. So, or maybe you're just an asshole. I don't know. Billy is saying, why are you throwing away perfectly good foods? Yeah. Chris is saying, pro-lifers can protest abortion, but you know the one thing you never see them do, adopt children out of homes who weren't aborted, but were abandoned for not being wanted. I don't know, Chris. Have you talked to all of them? Maybe some of them do. Again, I think the main issue is that who's being harmed. That's the only question I have. Are the fetuses being harmed? No, the fetuses cannot be harmed because they are not even conscious. So that's the only question here. So no, fuck it, go at it. Abort as many fetuses as you want. Truth begets heresy is saying the level of complexity of the fetus nervous system is an interesting question. Do they have a scientifically valid argument? No, they don't. There's a lot of studies on this. Go check it out. They're definitely not conscious. They're for sure not self-aware. They're not even self-aware for a while after they're born. Muskal, I was going to read something. I think she deleted it. Soraya said, okay, Mike is saying next news piece. Good. Thank you, Mike. I just read the two last comments from Soraya and Moose and Gal, and then I'll move forward. Yes, of course. By the way, Mike, make sure you tag me before so I could read. Yes, of course. If I have to choose between mother's life and a baby, I'll go for mother to live. A baby is not even in his sense to suffer as much as mother, or not at all actually. Muskal is saying the baby fetus cannot survive on its own without the mama's baby. Yeah, so in that Muskal, I agree with you. In that case, the mom should still not be forced to keep the baby alive because the baby depending on the mother. But in that case, if the baby was conscious, it would just be a tragedy. But still, the mother should not be forced even in that situation. But I'm saying that we could be happy about that it's not even a fucking tragedy because who cares about fetuses? I don't. All right, next story. Protests in Denmark as burqa ban comes into effect. Holy fuck. Again. Protests on which side? Let's see. Hundreds protest. Here, let's start here. Hundreds of Danes rallied in Copenhagen on Wednesday in protest at the new ban on the wearing of face veils in public, accusing the government of infringing women's right to dress as they choose. Denmark's parliament enacted the ban in May, joining France and other EU countries in what some politicians say is upholding secular and democratic values. The protesters, many wearing the niqab veil or the body-length burqa, began to march from the central district of Noribro to Belahoj police stations on the outskirts of the city. Demonstrators, often with child in tow, included veiled and non-veiled Muslim women and non-Muslim Danes with their faces covered. No incidents were reported. We need to send a signal. Okay, so this is a quote. We need to send a signal to the government that we will not bow to discrimination and a law that specifically targets a religious minority, said Sabina, 21, who asked that her full name not be used. She is one of between 150 and 200 Muslim women, 0.10% of those in the country who wear either the niqab or burqa on a daily basis. Muslims account for 5% of Denmark. Holy shit, 5%? Really? Of Denmark's populations of 5.7 million. Under the law, police will be able to instruct women to remove their veils or order them to leave public areas. The country's Justice Minister, Soren Pape Poulsen, said officers would find them and tell them to go home. Find them, jeez. Let's see how many. Fines will range from 1,000 Danish krone or 120 euros for a first offense to 10,000 krone for a fourth. Jesus. Let's see. Despite its generic wording, the legislation has widely been interpreted as a discrimination against Denmark's Muslim and violating women's rights to freedom of expression and religion. Critics noting the tiny number of Muslim women in Denmark who actually wear the hijab regard the law as largely a soap to increase anti-immigrant sentiments in the country. Wait, isn't that a contradiction? If only a tiny number of Muslim women wear it, so how is it anti-immigration? If the intention of this law was to protect women's rights, it fails abjectly, said Fortes Filippo, Amnesty International's deputy director for Europe. Instead, the law criminalizes women for their choice of clothing, making a mockery of the freedoms Denmark purports to uphold. Police said none of the veiled protesters would be penalized because certain uses of face veils, such as to exercise freedom of speech as part of a peaceful protest, are exempt from the law. Okay. The Justice Ministry explained that the ban would focus on women forced by their families to wear the veils, though it has been faulted for vagueness in stipulating who would fall foul of it. The head of the Danish police union, Claus Oxfeld, said he would have preferred more comprehensive guidance on how to enforce the ban. He said he was not sure, for example, whether Asian tourists wearing anti-pollution masks would be covered by the ban. I'm wondering if Antifa is going to get trouble because they cover their faces as well. France, which has the largest Muslim community in the EU, as well as Belgium, the Netherlands, Bulgaria, and the German state of Bavaria, have all imposed curbs on the wearing of face veil in public. France's controversial 2011 ban added to the broader sense of alienation felt by many Muslims, and some evidence surfaced that it also encouraged assaults on women wearing headscarves in the streets, which is still legal. Let's see, there's lots of comments that you guys have. Stefano is saying we need to protect Western values. Truth begets heresy. Heresy is truth is saying, in principle, I'm against arbitrary dress code or restrictions. However, in this case, we have a clash of cultures and long-term motivations. It's tough. It's a tough call, though. But you guys seem to saying that this is about culture, but the law itself seemed to be about security. Do you guys think that... Does it mention security? No. What's the reasoning they give? Isn't it about public safety? Do you think they're lying when they say that this has anything to do with public safety? Do you think that's an excuse, or do you think they're being honest? I mean, a lot of people seem to. I mean, would they apply this equally to people that are wearing face masks to avoid pollution or Antifa? I don't know. Let me see what else is saying. Muscal is saying, Atheist Republic, do you think it's better if the Middle East woman going to another country to live don't wear the headscarf or all black like they do in Afghanistan if people saw them as... Where's the rest of your sentences? Oh, saw them as people... maybe the Republicans of society wouldn't get so scared. I don't really know if that's the... Where did everything go? So here's the thing. There's many different questions here. First of all, is this about security or is this an anti-Muslim law disguised as a security threat, right? If this is about security, are we able to show that this makes banning face veils makes the public more safe, right? What are the net effects of it? If it's not about security and it's about going against religious symbols or stuff that don't that are not part of their secular culture, they're trying to fight that. If that's the goal, that's not the best way to do it. This will backfire. If the best way to make people feel that they need to create their own tribes within your country is to make them feel discriminated against. But if this is genuinely about security, and it has been shown that it works, and if it's applied to everybody equally, including like in Halloween, are they going to ban people for wearing like masks and costumes because they're hiding their faces? Let me see. Moose Gal is saying, do you think it's better if the Middle East woman going to another country to live oh yeah, I already read that. I mean, of course. I mean, are you asking me if it's better for them not to wear this? Of course, I personally think this is a symbol of oppression, of men over women. So I'm going to be biased and say it's obviously better for you not to wear something that is a symbol of you being a property of men. But that's just me. So, but what I think is best is different from what I think the government should enforce. Let's see if there are other comments. As he is saying, a strong culture needs no protection. It grows and adopts new things as needed. The second you need to protect it, it's done. Well, yeah, I mean, a strong culture. I mean, I would say a strong value system should be able to. You should be able to sell it to people, and if your value system is superior, then market the shit out of it and sell it to people and show them how superior your values are, and get them to abandon their values. If you force it on people, it's going to backfire. I think it's going to have the opposite effect. Again, I'm not sure if this is what's being done here. If this is genuinely about security, then I would support it. I just don't know if it's about security. It's about something else being disguised as being about security. Moose Gal is saying Atheist Republic would it? No, wait. Did I not read that already? Is this being asked a second time? Wouldn't it be better for the Muslims to blend in the U.S.? We do have freedoms, but I think it could be more to help the Muslims. Yeah, it would be better for them to blend in because the U.S. has superior, not just for the sake of blending in, but because the values in Western countries are superior to values from Islamic countries. But that's why it's best for them to blend in, but because those are better values. It's better that if you have your lives, if you live your lives by better values. But the thing is that how do you get people to adopt your values? You get them by advocating and selling your values to them, not by forcing it on them. I mean, look at what Ataturk tried to do that in Turkey. Reza Shah tried to do that in Iran. Look at Turkey now. Look at Iran now. It backfires. Soraya is saying, I think wearing face mask by religious means is ignorance towards others. What? Not sure what you mean. Truth Begets Heresy says anti-Muslim. No, anti-Islamization of Danish society. Then yes. Anti-Islamization. Well, I would say not anti-Islam in general. I would support anything anti-Islam in general. But I think the best way to fight Islam in any society is to talk to Muslims. But if they feel hated, it's going to be very hard to talk to them. Brian, I'm not ignoring your comments. I'm just, the reason I might be missing some of your comments is because I'm only reading the ones that Atheist Republic is being tagged If you want me to read any of your comments, please make sure you tag me. Truth Begets Heresy is saying, Atheist Republic, the downside and the greatest strength of Western secular culture is that it's self-critical, yep, and self-deprecating. The result is that all cultures are equal when they are not. Well, no, it's okay to be self-critical, but you need to be good at being self-critical. If that's there's good criticism and bad ones, and saying all cultures are equal is definitely a shitty way to be critical of your own culture. Well, again, I don't like saying a culture, say values, because those are two separate things. But be critical of the values that your society have, and acknowledge that some values are better than others. I mean, what's the point of being critical of your values if you don't think some of them are better? Because if they're all equal, there's no way you could improve them. Anyways, next story. Oh, wait. Let me see if there's any comments here. John Clegg is saying hundreds protests in Copenhagen. I have saying law infringes women's rights to, and then he says, ends quotation here, be oppressed and have no rights. Yeah, actually, that's funny, because they're saying that this is against women's rights, whereas Islam forces them upon many women. So, I mean, a lot of people say that they wear this by choice, but I don't know if you could say that if you've been indoctrinated to think that this is a good thing. I mean, a lot of women in Islam don't really understand what they're wearing, what it represents. Tim is saying, I live in Denmark. It was 1,300 who protested. Not a huge national deal, but about damn time about making this crap illegal. Okay, so Tim from Denmark supports this. Marcus is against it, I think. He's saying, Sai, how moronic to identify who a certain citizen is quite important for several reasons. Oh, this is a long comment. I wish I didn't start it. And that should override any complaint of a person who wants to be anonymous for whatever reason. If they don't like it, they can accept that the society they live in isn't in line with what they want, and they can move elsewhere. I really don't like this line, they can move elsewhere, because it's not that easy to just move. I think even if they're wrong, that's not a good ultimatum. But then again, who would want to live in a country where one can, or rather has to, wear a full body veil? Anyways, I'm going to stop saying that. Reading that comment, it keeps going. Muscal saying, what about anonymous masks? Again, Muscal, the thing is, I don't know if there's any studies that shows that covering your face is a security threat. If it is a security threat, then all of it should be banned, including anonymous masks, including Antifa, including Halloween costumes, including face veils. And the fact is that them being a religious thing is irrelevant. Your religion shouldn't get special privileges. If it's a security threat, it should be banned if they're applying it to everyone else. Brian, are you talking to me or no? I think you're just talking among yourselves. Truth Begets Heresy saying, Atheist Republic, my bro, just remember it hasn't been that long since the face cover Salafi BS has resurfaced. And yes, plenty of voices within Muslim community are also saying, what the fuck? Love the show, bro. All right, yeah, love you too. Love you back. Okay, next. Creationist Kent Hovind says, broccoli is proof that evolution is false. I think a lot of broccoli haters might agree with this. This is interesting. Or, doesn't it... Wait, let's see what this argument is. This is funny. Broccoli. Is this a short video? Maybe we could just play the video. No.
Fine. Okay, broccoli. How could broccoli have evolved slowly by chance? I would like an answer to that, a very simple answer. how many trillions of intermediate steps would there have to be to change from an amoeba or from a single-celled creature to broccoli? Is there any scientific evidence for these small changes that you guys believe in? Capital B, believe. Evolution is a religion. Is it more logical to believe that maybe broccoli was created by a really smart creator? And I have learned in my years of doing this, the evolutionists cannot
Oh my god. This is too dumb for me. I don't know if I can continue.
silence their critics with logic. This is why they
This
hate
goes
me
up-
so much. See,
Nope.
they can't.
No, they hate you because you're such an idiot. This goes for another 20 minutes. I don't want to play all of it. If you want to just search Dr. Kent Hovind, creation that destroys evolution, something. But I don't know. Do you guys want me to read this? This is just an idiot, another science denier. Oh, actually, this is funny because Hemant Mehta is comparing him to Ray Comfort because Ray Comfort is like the banana guy. This is now the broccoli guy. Anyways, this is just funny. Let's see what the top comments are. Chuck is saying, and after all this time thinking evolution is true, I'm finally convinced it's not. Broccoli, who would have thought? Yeah, this is just another creationist being a creationist. I've talked to so many creationists, and you have no, like, from all the religious arguments, this is the one that is the most annoying. You just kind of want to say, like, here, like, you just have to start like a science class, and you just know, like, you feel like, great, I just did an evolution tutorial for 2 hours for somebody. I could, if I did this for like a kid, their parents would have probably paid me for 2 hours worth of private schooling, private teaching, so a kid. But now I just wasted 2 hours of my time for somebody that was as big of an idiot as 2 hours ago. Nothing went through his head. It's so annoying. I just want to. And I studied biology in university a lot. So, and their arguments is so simplistic, so basic, and you just like, oh my god, I just want to like. I don't know. I've experienced way too many times. I refuse to do it again. I let other people. How about this? Every time somebody talks to you about evolution and you don't have the patience for it, if you have the patience for it, well, great, good job. I mean, thank you for doing that. If you don't have the patience for it, I suggest this book. Why this book, let me see. Why Evolution is True by Dr. Jerry Coyne. Where is it? Amazon. Just get them to read this book. Why Evolution is True. Really good book. Anyways, too much time spent on. Okay, last story. Let me actually read some of your comments. Old Scratch is saying, Kent Hovind went full banana man with broccoli. Broccoli was heavily cultivated by humans. Yeah, actually, I think this is one of those things that we have a lot of. This is actually should be used as an example for why it's so obvious that evolution is real, because we know exactly the plant where broccoli came from, and we know that it's not natural selection, it's human selection. We basically genetically modify it. It's a very good case study for showing why evolution is real. Mike is saying all he can do now is to peer review his research and get a Nobel Prize. Yeah, Mike, the response to that would be the whole scientific community is a sham, and he would definitely not get a Nobel Prize for it, because there is like this agenda of there's anti-God agenda within the scientific community, and that's why he will whatever evidence he brings forward is not going to be accepted. I've been talking to these people way too long. Soraya is saying, "Oh, broccoli. One simple thing. It's food. Eat the fucking thing. It's nutritious, and evolution is having more proofs to be true than fantasy theories of creations." Yeah, as he is saying, all food we eat is GMO and modified by breeding. Yep, even if we eat rabbits. Yeah, I mean, broccoli is we know exactly where broccoli came from. We made broccoli out of other plants. So I don't know where he's getting at. I don't. The video is 30 minutes, so I didn't want to go over that with you guys. But if you're interested, go look it up and leave a comment. So last story. Sorry you guys, but I'm leaving you guys with a very depressing story. Apparently, 9-year-old child bride reportedly killed by husband in Afghanistan. Okay, we're doing this. Eh? 9-year-old child. Okay, girl sold illegally. Oh my God, this is illegally into marriage to pay family debt. Oh my. Okay, every fucking this article, man. Okay. Girl sold illegally into marriage to pay family debt is murdered the day after UNICEF reports 1 in 3 Afghan girls were wed before reaching 18. What the fuck? Okay. An Afghan man has been accused of strangling to death. Oh. This news item is really hard to go through. An Afghan man has been accused of strangling to death a 9-year-old girl who was forcibly given to him by her family as a child bride to pay off a debt. News of the murder emerged a day after figures were published in a joint report between the UN's Children's Agency, UNICEF, and the Afghan Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs, Martyrs, and the Disabled. So just saying that more than 1 in 3 Afghan girls were still being married off before the age of 18. The girl's murder was confirmed to local media by the provincial governor, Nakibullah Amini, as well as to The Guardian by an NGO based in Kabul. According to the Afghan website and television channel Tola News, the girl named Samia was married to the alleged killer named Sharafuddin. Haha, I got this one. Fuck him, by the way. Oh my God. Okay, so Sharafuddin. By the way, Sharafuddin, I think means Sharaf. I think means integrity. Din means religion. I don't know if that's true, but if that's what it means here, but if that's what it means, it's pretty ironic. At the age of what? She was married. Oh, she was married to... I wasn't even paying attention while reading it. She was married to the alleged killer named Sharafuddin at the age of 7 to settle down the debt. So this guy has been raping this poor little girl for 2 fucking years. The governor said that the child had been married to the 35-year-old for 2 years, continuing that the alleged killer had fled the area after the incident. Yeah, this is... Amini added that the dead... Why would he kill her? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Amini added that the dead girl's father had been arrested by police good. Fucking the whole family should be arrested for forcing his daughter to marry the man. Father, like, how could you be like, look, even if you're not the father, think about like looking at a 7-year-old girl and giving it to a man because you owe them money, and knowing what's going to happen to her, and just still being okay with this. Just be like, Amini added that I read that part. Further details of the murder were also confirmed by humanitarian assistance for the women and children of Afghanistan, which runs a shelter in Kabul. In a statement to the Guardian, we can confirm that this has happened, said Hashim Ahmadi, the organization's program manager. Let me see what the live chat is saying. What is another? What is she? Aisha? What is she? Another Aisha for Muhammad? Well, this is worse because Muhammad didn't kill Aisha. Muskal is saying 9-year-old bride. What the fuck? How do the adults in Afghanistan think that's a good idea? Why isn't child brides considered child abuse? Afghanistan needs to become a modern. I'm so mad. All right, let's see. We can okay. The girl's father claims that she was given in bad to settle a dispute between them, but the reality is that the girl was only 7 years old when she was sold for around $13,500 or 10,000 pounds in marriage. The case, just selling little girls like chattel. That's great. The case is still under investigation, but she is not alone. The thing to understand is that hundreds of girls become victims of such violence every day in Afghanistan, although child marriage and what's bad actually? Ba'ad is the pre-Islamic method of settlement and compensation whereby a female from the criminal's family is given to a victim's family as a servant or a bride. Is that how you say it? Ba'ad? B-A-A-D. Are prohibited by the law. It is not implemented in most parts of the country. Although the UNICEF reports on child marriage, which studied 5 Afghan provinces representing urban, semi-urban, and rural areas, noted a 10% decline in child marriage in the country in the past 5 years. It added that the practice was still commonplace in the country. While the international legal definition of a child states that they are a human being below the age of 18 years, under Afghan law, the legal age for marriage is 18 for boys but 16 for girls. Despite this, researchers found that child marriage continued to be a serious problem, with both boys and girls married off as 12, but with girls disproportionately affected. Adele Khodr, UNICEF representative in Afghanistan, commended efforts to eradicate child marriage, but added further consolidated action is needed by the different actors in society to put an end to this practice and reach the goal of ending child marriages by 2030. By 2030? Holy shit. That's like another 12 years. Okay. According to the new report, 42% of households saw at least one family member married before the age of 18. You know, I'm more concerned about the ones that are 7 and 9. I mean, it's still fucking disgusting that they're being, married at age 16. They should be way older to have. I mean, other people are making these decisions for them. If they're being married that young, they should have full control over who they get to marry at whatever age they are. But the ones that are 7 or 9, those go after those ones first before you go to after the 16 and 17-year ones. The Afghan Minister of Labor, Social Affairs, Martyrs, and Disabled. You guys should come up with a shorter name. Fazilullah Zaki, who wrote the foreword to the UNICEF report, described the continuing practice of child marriage in Afghanistan as an appalling violation of human rights that robs children of their education, health, and childhood. All right, let's come in to the live chat, see what you guys have to say. Okay, Muscal is saying, you said the girl was sold. I didn't know that slavery was still a thing. Oh, Muscal, yeah, slavery is still a thing in many places, especially in Africa and China. Slavery is actually bigger than ever. And not in percentage-wise, but in total number, I think it's bigger than ever. It's eradicated only in most countries, but not everywhere. Soraya is saying this thought of marrying children has taken over due to greed of virginity. That's male greed. Any child husbands? Well, depends on what's your definition of a child. Do you consider... I mean, in Iran, back when I was... I mean, at least, I don't know if the laws have changed, but... boys could get married by age 15. So you would force marry your 15-year-old son to another girl that was 9. Actually, I remember reading a report of 2 little kids at the court just playing with dolls together, and then the reporter realized that they're about to get married. The boy was 15 and the girl was 9, and their parents were marrying them off with each other. So, yeah, I guess boys could also get married as children. Truth Begets Heresy is saying Atheist Republic, Qatar has open slave markets right now, young African men and women being sold into hell. Yeah, and there's a lot of Filipinos also in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, in United Arab Emirates, and in Qatar. Filipinos also, once they get there to work, they take their passports away. And technically that's slavery, because they have no choice to leave anymore. Like if they want to leave, they're stuck there. They rely on their now owners for food, for living, and they can't refuse work. So once you steal people's password, take their passwords away from them, they go from being paid labor to slaves. So there's a lot of slavery of Filipinos also happening in Gulf Arab countries. Let's see what comments are here. Sam Dean is saying one of the cultures we are told to embrace. And again, this is not just the culture. This is something that I would blame on Islam. We started with the story that I didn't know if I could blame. Like they were burning in Pakistan. They were burning schools because they were against girls having education. I don't know if you could attribute that to Islam, because there's nothing in Islam that suggests women can't have education. But this one here, this fucking disease here, this monstrosity right here, this is Islam, okay? This is definitely Islam. This is what Muhammad... not the killing part. The killing of the child is not Islamic, but the raping of the child is definitely Islamic. Muskel is saying... If the U.S. got rid of slavery, why aren't we helping other countries to get rid of it? What do they do with these slaves? Would depend, Muska, which country? Depends on the country you're referring to. So in every country is different. In Africa, there's a lot of Africans being bought and sold as slaves and sold into farms for forced labor. In China, the reason why that's slavery, especially in prison, you have forced labor in prison, so that's technically slavery. And in Gulf Arab countries is slavery because people don't have a choice. Once they get to those countries, they have no choice whether they want to continue working or not. Muscal is saying, did you know anyone in Iran that got married at 15? No, I didn't. I actually, this was I read this in a report in a newspaper by a reporter that the reporter herself was shocked. So this is not something that if you live in Upper Tehran you get exposed to. This is something you read about in a newspaper, and you're shocked that this is happening in your country. For example, so this is the fight between religion in your country and the cultures in your country. For example, something that Islam allows is for men to have more than one wife. They could have multiple wives. But Iran is an Islamic country, but you're going to be very hard for you to find any men marrying more than one, having more than one wife, because it's such a taboo in Iranian culture. So this is basically a clash of religion versus culture. And in different countries that plays out differently. Soraya is saying, I would like to watch Armin having a debate with Muslims of India. We have so many types of Muslims. Well, introduce them to me, Soraya. I would love that. Atheist Republic, feminism has to come to a shit ton of countries. And yeah, I agree with you, Muscal, and this is why I don't like it when people shit on feminism, because feminism, I think they look at Western countries and think that feminism is like toxic ideology, and I think like, no, don't let a few feminists destroy feminism, because feminism has still a lot more work to do in most of the planet, right? In most of the planet, women are very much discriminated against and are treated like property. So Truth Begets Heresy is saying feminism, no, enlighten and egalitarianism. Well, I mean, that's part of it. Feminism is part of it. And feminism has just had a bad PR in the West, but it's basically human rights for women. Okay, so it's a focus on women. I think it's very much needed, and it's up to the most feminists do want equal rights, and they're not the crazy ones that are highlighted in the West. And I think they need to reclaim that label and start steal it, claim it back. Truth Begets Heresy is saying feminism has become a toxic ideology. It's not a few. The core ethos of the movement has manifested. Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm a liberal. You guys, I think most of you are liberals, and we think the word liberal has been hijacked by a lot of crazy people from the far left. What I say is that we don't say we're not liberals anymore. We don't let them hijack that label away from us. I still consider myself a liberal, even though a lot of people that call themselves liberal are actually anti-liberal ideas. So I think like feminism has done a lot of good for us, and it would be very sad for feminists to just let people just hijack that label to stand for something that is not feminism. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe maybe they should come up with the new label. Maybe women rights activists. Maybe it's too late now. There's no hope for that label anymore. Maybe they should just call themselves we're women rights activists. But I'm hoping it's not. I hope it's not too late to reclaim it. Anyways, I think that was the last news. Let me see if what's the. Sorry guys on the Facebook live chat that I usually have a partner here. Allie Jackson is here with me. She will pay attention to the Facebook live chat. I haven't been able to do that. Tracy, Owen, Andy, Tame, Marvin, Karen, Cynic, Warren. Apologize to you guys for not reading your comments. Try to do better. Hopefully we get backup hosts so that when Allie, she's not doing very well. I'll let her explain when she comes back. She needs a lot of support, I think, but we'll see. I hope she's recovering, but yep, I'll keep you guys up. I'll ask her what I can share. I wanted her to be here so that she could say her stuff, because I don't know how much I'm allowed to share. Muskael is saying, we say feminist because women need rights. It's not to say we should ignore men, but to address a problem. Yeah, I know, Muskael. I consider myself a feminist as well, except the thing is, a lot of people say that a lot of toxic ideas have been mixed with feminism, that you should just give up the label feminist. And I don't know. I'm not ready to let go of that label yet. I'm hoping that people like me and you can take it back. I don't know if I mean if it's proven to me that it's way too late, then I would switch from being considered a feminist to be like, okay, I'm just a woman rights activist advocate. But I'm hoping it's not too late to save it. I mean, we didn't let the far left steal liberal from us, so I think we should try to fight for the word feminist as well. I might be completely wrong. Let's see if there's any comments here. Did I? No. All right, that's about it. Anyways, love you guys in the YouTube chat as well. Alvin, Muscal, Freelance, Brian, Soraya, Truth Begets Heresy. Who else? Sorry again for doing such a shitty job at reading the articles. Can't spell. And Darth Dawkins. That's a cool name. Yeah, again, I know I do a shitty job reading these articles. That's why I have Allie here. She does a great job at summarizing these. But I tried my best. I'll try to get a better host than myself to go over these with me next time if Allie is not here. But thank you for your patience. Let me see your comments. Love you, Armin, and all the chatters. Cheers, everyone. Live long. Mike is saying live long and prosper. Soraya says you did well. All people in the Facebook chat are leaving likes and hearts. You guys are sweet. Bye, folks. Bye, Armin. Muska saying you did well enough, Armin. Thank you, Peach. Thank you, guys. All right, guys. Bye. Love you all. How do I end this? See ya.